Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nastapresha Bhadresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Naistike Tara Dasnavo Bhava Kamalobha Dayaschaye Chetaya Kairana Vidam Sitvam Sattve Prasidati. Hare Krishna. So very happy to be back here in Helsinki, also known as Sinking Hell. A few old friends and a few familiar faces. Don't ask me names. After a while, it all becomes a blur. But I was here 9 years ago. They just got this place, and it was just starting up to be a construction site. So thanks to all of you who have made it happen. And there's still ways to go, as you may have noticed. So. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, text number 17. This is the preparation of Krishna's appearance, Krishna's event. And when we want to receive Krishna, this is the right kind of attitude, and this is the process by which we can actually welcome Krishna. Shrimvata Sakita Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantaksto Bhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. If you stand in the door, you either come in or because otherwise you're blocking the door. You can stand outside like Jai and Vijay, but you can't stand and block the door. Otherwise, the Kumaras will curse you. You may have to take birth as a demon for 3 lifetimes. Srimvatam, those who have developed the urge to hear the message of Swakata, his own words, Krishna, the personality of Godhead, Punya, virtues, Shravana, hearing, Kirtana, chanting, Hridyantaksta, within one's heart, he, certainly, Abhadrani, desire to enjoy matter, Vidunoti, cleanses, Surit, benefactor, Satam, of the truthful. Translation of purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Report. Messages of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, are none different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his Shikshastaka, declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid fixture and anyone of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound. But unfortunately, we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy sound. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. The Lord is reciprocally respondent to his devotees. When he sees that a devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord, and has thus become eager to hear about him, the Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. The Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Most of us do not desire at all to go back to Godhead. Only a very few men want to go back to Godhead. But anyone who desires to go back to Godhead, Sri Krishna helps in all respects. One cannot enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleared of all sins. The material sins are products of our desires to lord it over material nature. It is very difficult to get rid of such desires. Women and wealth, or if you're a woman, you can put men there. Or if you're a whatever, then you put whatever there. Whatever and wealth are very women and wealth are very difficult problems for the devotee making progress on the path back to Godhead. Many stalwarts in the devotional line fell victim to these allurements and thus retreated from the path of liberation. For when one is helped by the Lord Himself, the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord. To become restless in the contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment, because every living being is associated with such things from remote time, practically immemorial. And it takes time to recover from this foreign nature. But if one is engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord, gradually he realizes his real position. By the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to defend himself from the state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Giranjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam Vachanam Pangum Gaite Girim Yatkripadamam Bande Sri Gurudinatharanam Paramananda Maravam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shrimata Sutta Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Vidyantakstoya Bhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma Supersoul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which were in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So in a few days we have the advent of Krishna. Shri Krishna Janmashtami Ki Jai. Haribol. You gonna be here? Yes? Is that a yes or is that a yes? Please say yes.
Yes.
Are you gonna bring all your 5,000 friends?
Yes.
Huh? Yes. Better. We got a lot of space, you know? We're gonna have the biggest party in Helsinki ever. So, yet, what is the proper attitude? What is the proper mindset to welcome Krishna? Krishna svadhamapagate dharma jnana divisaha kalanashtam drishamesha purnarko gunodita. Krishna, he appears and he disappears in his physical form, but he's always present in his holy name. Nama Chitamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Abhinatam Nama Namino. Nama and Nama Anami, the name and the possessor of the name are the same person. So when you hear Hare Krishna, then Krishna is present. He's there in his name. Say Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So Krishna has appeared. The question is, how often do I say Hare Krishna? That is the question. So you may be in the right place, you may be at the right time, but if your consciousness is not here, then you're not here. Just like traveling sounds very attractive, right? Now that restrictions have been lifted, people are again traveling. But if you don't change your mindset, you haven't really gone anywhere. Because wherever you go, you're already there. Because your mind hasn't changed. Right now, where are you? Are you doing your homework? Are you doing your to-do lists? Are you thinking, oh, I have to pay this bill, I have to do laundry, why are the kids screaming? I just hear, blur. I was in San Francisco and downtown Market and Powell, where the cable car starts. And I met a man and he said, I met this person. He pointed at Prabhupada's picture. And I said, most likely not, because he left in 77. He said, no, I'm from New York. I was there in the Lower East Side. And when I stepped into the storefront in the spring of '66, they said, yes, the Swami's upstairs, you can go see him. So I walked up into his apartment, and he told me that Prabhupada was sitting on the floor at a very low table, something like this, and he was writing something. And the Swami didn't say anything, and I didn't say anything. And for 40 minutes, we just sat there, and it was perfect. Because he knew that I knew that he knew. You don't think that's funny? That's San Francisco, okay? If you remember the '60s, you were not there. So, and then after 40 minutes, he motioned to his assistant, he gave me some fruit, and I left. This man was right in front of Prabhupada for almost an hour. But he could not hear Prabhupada speak. Why could he not hear Prabhupada speak? Because Prabhupada didn't open his mouth? No. Because there was too much noise in his head. And Prabhupada realized this person is not capable of hearing. So he did not speak to him. Rather, he just allowed him to be there in his presence, get prasadam. And he had to wait for 50 years till he got a chant and be happy. And he ceremoniously handed over his $1, like a good old hippie, who said, okay, I'm going to give you something. And he gave $1. And now he has the chance to hear Prabhupada. So we may be in the right place at the right time. It may be Janmashtami. There's thousands of people. How many people normally come here? 10,000? This place looks more like 20,000. I mean, you can have the biggest party in Finland right here on the lawn, with fireworks and the whole thing, right? Am I right or am I right? Yes or yes? Please say yes.
Yes.
Thank you for your great audience participation. I knew you got it in. Now, you may wonder, well, that's a lot of people, it's going to be a lot of potatoes and a lot of, tents. And who's going to make it happen? You're going to make it happen. That's why they pay you the millions. That's why are they Vikings here? No. What are they? Reindeer?
Lapland, there's reindeer.
Yes, there is everything and more. Now, I don't care whether you're an economic refugee, a political refugee, or a spiritual refugee, or you don't know why you're here. You just, went on a walk and went to a nice park and stumbled into this assembly. Any reason is a good enough reason to come to Krishna's temple. In the early days, some people came here to buy and sell drugs. I mean, I'm not saying here, but, to some of the temples. They came to meet a girlfriend or a boyfriend. They came because they were in distress or they were looking for a job opportunity. Any reason is a good enough reason to come to Krishna's temple. But it's not a good enough reason to stay in Krishna's temple. So feel free to upgrade your desires, to upgrade your goals. Do you upgrade your apps? Are you doing that?
Yes.
It's a little slow here today. I mean, the sun is shining, right? There's no snow outside. So, feel free to upgrade your desires, upgrade your consciousness on a daily basis. Because otherwise, you may miss the party. You may miss the whole thing. Like how many times have we seen, like in Vrindavan? There's 3 big altars with many sets of beautiful deities. And a lot of people walk in one door, they look around, they keep walking, they see some people singing, and they walk out the other door. Have you ever noticed? It's amazing. It happens a lot. So you can be physically in a location, but mentally, emotionally, you're not there. Did you ever read something and after a while you paused and you asked yourself, what did I just read? Has this ever happened to you?
Yes.
5 people said yes. This is a great audience here. Like, I like it. I like it a lot. So, the process is called Krishna consciousness, which means, where is my consciousness right now? Am I here? Or am I everywhere? That is the question. So how to invite Krishna? When they were preparing for the Ratha Yatra festival in Puri, the day before, Lord Chaitanya and his associates, they went and they cleaned the Gundicha temple. Because when you want to invite the Lord, you have to create a purified place. Now we know Om Pavitra Pavitro Va Sarvavastam Gatopi Va Yaksmaret Pundrikaksham Sabhavyayantaraksochi Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu. That you can purify a place by mantra, by tantra, by yantra, by water. So they went and they cleansed and they brushed. They took away all the dirt, all the rocks, pebbles, and stone and sand. And then they took big pots of water, big clay pots, and they were splashing them everywhere. And they were also taking their own cloth. Mahaprabhu was taking his own dhoti, his own udriya, and he was cleansing the altar with his own cloth. And in this way, they made the place very clean, very cooling, because they know tomorrow is Rath Yatra. Lord Jagannath, the Lord will come and he will be here, he will sit here. Our Krishna, he is the most pure. Shuddhama Papa Vidam. In fact, he's so pure that he purifies every place. Yet he will only reside in a pure place. So if I want to invite Krishna in my consciousness, my cheta, in my mind, in my heart, I have to make sure that those places are purified. Vidunoti. Do you know what the Vidunoti is? Vidunoti is an instrument that you can use for sonification. Does anybody know what sonification is? You can cleanse something by sound. Did you know you can do operations by laser? Not just by knife, but by laser. With laser, you can do operations. There's no cut. They will put a laser to you, and like, for instance, if you have small kidney stones or things like that, and they will point it to that, and then with that laser, it won't really affect your tissue, but it will affect those stones. So with sonification, you can purify an object with sound. Did you ever hear sound that bothered you? Like for us who are in the field of sound, it's a curse, right? Like when I know that I have that feedback from the mic, I know I'm back in India, right? It's a must, right? That, and you go like, turn it off, right? So, or certain places you touch the mic and you get electrocuted. Have you ever had that? That's a real fun experience, right? You're trying to chant and then you touch the mic and you go and you get the buzz. And it's not ecstasy. It's just yeah, painful. Yeah, exactly. So now we want to invite Krishna in our mind, in our heart, but we have to purify our mind and our heart. Ta rajastamo bhava kamalobhadayaschaye cheta etairana vidam sikvam sattve prasidati. Prajantyananya manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnana mukta sangasya jayate. So the Bhagavatam is giving us the process, you see. This Krishna consciousness is not a personality cult. We're not here to see the drama, to see the magic. It is a process. And if you follow the process, you can achieve the result. How many of you were born in Finland? Wow, I'm impressed. Not bad. Yeah. For the rest of you, what are you doing here? It's a good question, isn't it? Every time I go to a place at the border, I mean, not here in Europe because they're nice people, but when you come to the great country, they ask you, what is the purpose of your visit to the great country? And I say, no, that's the wrong answer. What you have to say is, that is a very good question. And that will buy you about 3 seconds, And then you can think, hey, why am I here? He asked me something, this border control, you gotta say something good, right? So, why am I here? That is a very good question. Because your motive defines your purpose, it defines your goal. And again, as I said earlier, once you've found fortune, you've found fame, you found your spouse, or you got out of misery, then what? What's next? There's no more point, there's no more reason to be here. So if we're here for some ulterior purpose, for some material purpose, for some external purpose, as soon as that purpose is fulfilled, we'll go elsewhere and we'll keep looking. We'll keep running through the galaxy, trying to find happiness that is always just a step ahead of us. It's always just now coming. Just like when you go on certain websites and it says, just wait, and it's a spinning wheel of fortune, right? And just wait a little bit, and it's processing. It's just not happening. In the future, like this morning, I read an article about one of the people who got famous and who got quite wealthy in developing some AI platform, and his whole thing was about how in the future we will do this, and how in the future we will do that, and it's just now coming, and this is going to happen, and that is going to happen. So, anyway, the point was vidunoti and sonification. Vidunoti is a device with which you can purify something like, for instance, a mattress. Have you ever had bed bugs? Have you heard of bed bugs? Yes. Okay. So, sometimes your mattress may be too firm, and you want to, again, make it more pleasant. Now we're talking India, you have cotton, you pile a lot of cotton into filling into a cover, and after some time it becomes too flat. It's too hard, right? It's not so comfortable anymore. So then what you do is you take a vidunoti. A vidunoti is like a bow, a big bow with a very big string. And you put your mattress in there and you pull that string, and then through that sound and through that vibration, it becomes purified and it becomes again functional. So a similar thing happens with our consciousness. Sometimes our mind is a little flat. Has it ever happened to you? Your mind went a little flat? Like you had a flat tire? You realize, like, this is not going anywhere. My mind is a little flat. Has this ever happened to you? Or is it just me? Thank you for your honesty. If you know your weakness, that is your strength. If you don't know that there is a problem, that is your problem. So, through transcendental sound, because the name and the possessor of the name are non-different. So if I chant Hare Krishna, I'm associating with Krishna directly. So when I chant Hare Krishna, Krishna is present. He's there on my tongue. He's there in my consciousness. He's there in my heart. Yet how to keep Krishna present? It's like a child when he wants to get the attention of the parents. It constantly talks because that's what you have to do. You have to constantly chant. So she's our guru. She's teaching us Kirtaniya Sadahari, that you have to constantly chant. You can't just say once a day, okay, I'm hungry. No, constantly, all day long, you have to keep nagging. In this way, you get the attention of the parents, right? In a similar way, if you want to have Krishna's attention, you can't just go, then Krishna won't really pay that much attention. But if the child goes, then the mother jumps over trucks and buses and swims over rivers of crocodiles and, fights off demons because baby's crying. I have to save baby, right? If you don't get it, it means you're not a parent and you don't know what we're talking about. That's okay. Just wait for prasadam. Everything will be revealed later on. When you put that spoon of halava in your mouth, you will get vidya. You will get protection, direct experience of God. For the others, there has to be a certain level of intensity, a certain level of desperation. Food is meaningless if you're not hungry. In fact, it can make you nauseous. If I don't feel a need for Krishna in my life, if I think, I'm good, I'm fine. Switzerland, we had Rath Yatra, there was one very generous friend, and he donated 500 mangoes for every Rath Yatra. So we offered them to Lord Jagannath, and we distributed big, full-size, fresh, ripe mangoes to people. And believe it or not, this is downtown Zurich. A lot of people would say, nah, I don't need it. I got money, I don't need it. And I'm like, you're going to take this mango, or else I'm going to throw it at you. It's like somebody comes and gives you a mango and you refuse it. I mean, you have to be an idiot, right? You have to be an idiot. It's like a kid, or somebody, anybody smiles at you, and you go like, why are you smiling? What's your problem? What you want? There's something wrong, right, with a person who has this type of attitude. And we think it's funny, but often it's me, that person who has that kind of attitude. I don't need Krishna. I'm fine. I got a job. They're paying me money. I got food in the fridge. I got gas in the tank. In fact, I'm coasting. Coasting? They don't have cabriolets here, right? They don't do that. Huh? In the summer. The summer is on a Friday, right? If you're lucky, it may be on 2 Fridays. So you can actually take your cabrio out for 1 week, right? And then you cruise around the neighborhood. And cruising means you put your elbow out, and then you cruise, right? And you cruise around the neighborhood and you show everybody, look, I got it figured out, okay? And I don't need whatever it is that you're trying to give me or sell me or, talk to me about, because I'm fine. And because of that arrogance, because of that obstinacy, you know what obstinacy means? Have you ever seen a dog that didn't want to walk with its master? The master was dragging the dog along the path, and the dog went. You think it looks funny, right? I am that dog. I'm the person who doesn't want to move because I don't realize that just being against something or someone is not going to make me achieve my goals. How many people are there in this world who define themselves by what they are against? I can give you a whole list of things that I don't like or that are, not my style But if you make it your life's mission, your purpose in life, your jihad, your holy war, what you're against, is that really going to change the world? Is that really going to make you achieve your goals? Is that really going to make you happy and successful in life? Nowadays, we have a lot of keyboard warriors. You know keyboard warriors? People who wage wars on keyboards and on phones. And they're busy all day sending messages and writing texts and going to meetings. They may even hire lawyers and spend money to prove what they're against. And it's easy to be against. But if people were to ask you, what's your message, sir? What's your contribution? How are you going to improve the quality of life of the people here in Finland? Well. Free schooling? We already have that. Okay. Free healthcare? We already have that. What are we going to promise them? Free trips to Mayapur and Vrindavan? Free prasadam at the Sundayfeast? We already have that. So don't run against windmills. You know Don Quixote? The guy who was fighting against windmills? Yeah? They still read literature? They still read history? Or it's all just about engineering and math and hard science? So, negativity, 2 negatives don't make a positive, you have to figure out what is my true purpose in life. What am I looking for? Aishtam yatat punarjanma jayaya. How good are you at overcoming the repeated cycle of birth and death? Are you good at that? Huh? What is the death rate here in Helsinki? Approximately? Approximately? Anybody?
100.
100 out of? Out of everybody, right? I guarantee you, in 100 years, none of us will be here. Maybe that little girl and that little boy, if they stick around. So, what is my goal? What is my true purpose in life? What am I trying to achieve? Huh? So, to have Krishna in our lives is a blessing. It's a gift. It's very auspicious. We should not take it for granted. Huh? So, how to invite Krishna in our life? By purifying our hearts and our minds through the process of hearing and chanting about Krishna. Primarily, we can chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Are you all chanting every day? That's a great audience response. That's wonderful. Huh? We should be constantly chanting. Huh? Because yam api smaram bhavam tyajante ante kalevaram tam tamivaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Whatever we remember at the time of death, that's the state we're going to attain. So, what are you going to chant at the time of death? What you have been chanting all your life. That's what you're going to chant. Now, you can train a parrot in Spanish Fork, Utah, where they do the Festival of Colors. They have a great Govinda's restaurant, and there's some parrots there. And when you walk into the door, the parrot says, Prabhu! 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 Now, if you'd be grabbing that parrot by the neck, he'd go, ah! So, you can train a parrot to chant Hare Krishna. But when death comes and grabs you, what are you going to chant? Huh? I was trying to take the journey from San Jose, Costa Rica, to Managua, Nicaragua. And we left on the Tika bus, which is supposed to take 7 hours. And the bus driver was all pura vida, pura vida, pura vida. He was all peace and love. He was all super happy. And after about an hour, he was frantically typing on his 3 different cell phones that he had, plugged to his dash. And I realized something is wrong. And after an hour or so, he stopped the bus besides the road, and he took the microphone and he said, "Excuse me, I'm sorry to announce, but the brakes are not working." And I'm like, that's great news. We're just driving through the mountains, like here and there, going to Badrinath, and the driver says, "Excuse me, the brakes are not working." Oh, very nice piece of information. And they haven't been working for a good while. We can't go anywhere. I called it into head office, and we don't know what's going to happen. So you're sitting there by the side of the road. What are you going to do? I mean, you can call your mom, right? You can count your money. You can start trying calling the company, the bus company. Good luck with that one. Huh? And you'll get a call center somewhere in America. And there's an Indian guy who answers, who's working night shift, out of Chennai, right, or out of Bangalore. You know the scenario, right? It's not going to do you any good. Or you can chant Hare Krishna, and you just go on a little japa walk. Not too far, but you just chant. Huh? And after 3 hours or so, another bus showed up, and we got into the other bus. And instead of 7 hours, it took us 11 hours, but we got there. So in a similar way, we have a plan. Krishna has a plan. Guess who's winning? Guess who's going to win? Well, we'll find out. So the more, there's place here, you can come in. Even if you like standing, you can stand on the wall, but you don't have to stand out there. Can you all move up like 15 and a half centimeters? Okay, plenty of room. Please. We've had as many as 800 people in here. So, sonification. You can purify an object with sound vibration. Now, we quoted the verse, Nama Chintamani Krishnas, that Krishna and his holy name are non-different, that if I chant Hare Krishna and I hear Hare Krishna, then Krishna is present in our life. So, if we do that constantly, at least every day, at least once a day, when you get up, you chant Hare Krishna, then Krishna will be present in your life. Did you know that 70% of the people check their messages before they get out of bed? I don't want to know if you're part of the 70%. If you want to have a life, leave your phone in flight mode till you finished your sadhana, till you finished your spiritual practice. You want to try that out? Huh? You want to try that out? Yes or yes? It's daring. Huh? You can say, okay, this is the Janmashtami challenge. Less time on the phone. Enjoy the offline experience. Sometimes you get these messages, right? You've been on the phone for 17 hours. It would be good to rest your eyes. My eyes? I have eyes. I am the phone. You don't understand. I am the machine. Get your life back. Consciousness is precious. Live in the real world. Because when you die, it's going to be real. It's not going to be AI. It's not going to be a movie. It's not going to be virtual reality. It's going to be real. And the way our consciousness has been conditioned is going to determine our next body. Why? Because consciousness creates reality. What is in your mind right now, tomorrow, or next year, or next life will become reality. Now that is the good news, and that is the scary news. What is in your mind? Now I can read minds. It's part of my job. It's what I do. Let's change that thought. Scary sometimes, right? What goes on in the mind? I have a mind too. I was in Miami, Florida, and there was an African American woman, middle-aged, and she was screaming and yelling at her phone. Have you ever seen somebody yell at their phone? They don't do this here in Finland, right? No. They're more peaceful. But in some places you actually see that, people yelling at their phone. And I always think this is funny, because what has this phone done to deserve being yelled at, right? Why would you yell at a phone? And what is the other person thinking on the other side of the line who gets yelled at? Probably they put the phone there, put it on, silent. So I had two choices. Choice number one, talk to her. Choice number two, avoid her. Now we're going to have a democratic vote here. Is Finland still a democracy? No? It's ruled by Russia or by US, or who is ruling? Huh? Oh, okay. Well, I just came from Central America and South America, the 20 countries in 4 months. And it changes, you go from extreme right to extreme left, and it's all over the place. So, okay, who says I talked to her? That's about 2 people, 3 people. Okay. Who says I avoid her? Come on, all you non-confrontational, pacifistic, friendly, kind Finns. Okay, that's about 10 people. Who abstains? Now, if you're a foreigner, you're still allowed to vote, it's not like They don't give you a voice here. This is Krishna's embassy, so you have a voice. Okay. Now, of course, I talk to her. I'm a preacher and a former hockey player, so I don't mind confrontation. So I went up to her and I said, your mind, is it your best friend or is it your worst enemy? Right now, are you mindful or mindless? And she said, I am so angry. I'm so upset. I could scream and yell at the whole world. But keep talking, it's working. So we had a little heart-to-heart. We had a little discussion. And she took some books. And at the end, I told her, did you realize that most of the people and most of the situation are outside of our control? Has any one of you realized that? Yes? Thank you. Thank you. I know you with me. You know, speakers need a little encouragement also, you know. It's like, I'm not just working up an appetite because. So, yet the way how we respond to people and to situations, that is always under our control. So, by chanting Hare Krishna, you're not going to change the events of the world, but you're going to change the way how you respond to those events. So, in this Jamashtami week, feel free to unsubscribe to anything that bothers you, anything that annoys you, anything that distracts you, any sound vibration that's toxic and it's just creating noise in your mind. You know, you get these spams and all that. Look for that, I unsubscribe. You know that little box? That's the one you have to look for. I unsubscribe. And you can unsubscribe to the mature world and live in the spiritual world. Iha yasya hererdasye karmana manasagira nikila shapyavasta su jivan mukta sauchyate. You can be a mukta purush. You can be liberated soul, even right here in sinking hell. And it's not sinking hell anymore. It's Vaikuntha or it's Goloka. All depending on my Chaitanya, my consciousness. Right now, where is your consciousness? Huh? Back home on the farm? Somewhere? Punjab? Ludhiana? Huh? Somewhere in the workshop? Somewhere with all the things that don't work out? All the problems? All the difficulties? Or is my mind with Krishna? That choice is ours. That choice is ours. Mahababi has kindly organized a 3-week tour. We went together to the Nordic countries. We also went to Iceland. I was up near the big church on the hill in Reykjavik. And I met a man. And he said, I have to go. He's calling me. I have to go to the church. And I liked his mood. I liked his style because it was very personal. He said, I've been called. I have to go. Every day I get these calls from God. He says, come see me. So I gave him a Beyond Birth and Death. And he said, Beyond Birth and Death is a small book. It's a little book like Perfection of Yoga. And he said, I cannot give you very much. And he looked at his phone and he checked his accounts. And he said, I can give you $180. Is that okay? I said, whatever. So he went in, he donated. And then he went in and he came back out after 10 minutes and we sat down and we had a little discussion. And he wanted my contact. And then later on in the day, he wrote to me that I've read the first page of the book. And it says, you're not the body, you're a spirit soul. And I fully agree with that. He's the chief ER doctor in the main hospital in Reykjavik. He said, I've seen 70,000 patients so far. And he's very, very dedicated to his profession, but he's a very spiritual person. And he mentioned to me that a few months ago, the priest who was counseling him left the church. So he doesn't have anymore his connection, the person who would answer his questions. And he asked me, can you do that? And I said, if you think I'm qualified, I mean, you're the doctor, you have to judge the situation. I'm happy to serve you. So people are looking for substance. They're not patient, they're not studious, they're not austere, they're not clean. But people are averse to hypocrisy. So if they see that we're not walking the talk, that we're not living what we're proposing others to do, then it's not only inconsistent, it's not only unproductive, it's hypocritical. And in today's day and world, to be called a hypocrite is the worst thing that we can do. So, who is the enemy? Not the bad guys are not there or there or there or there. The bad guys are already inside. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarja. Lust, anger, envy, illusion, madness. These are the enemies, the highway robbers. The enemy is ignorance. Just like we have a lot of polarization in the world right now. Have you noticed how everything, either you're left or you're right? The middle doesn't exist anymore, right? You have to make your choice. Either you're a blue or a red. Either you're this side or that side. But it's like the two sides of the bird. It's the same, the two wings of the bird, and it's the same bird. It's called ignorance. So if somebody proposes you two options, always go for the third option. What is the third option? Krishna consciousness. The problem is never solved on the level of the problem. You have to come to a higher state of awareness, a higher state of consciousness. That will solve the problem. So now you may think, okay, nice talk, nice stories, nice jokes, but what's the relevance to me? I mean, I'm here stuck in Finland, and it's getting colder, and I don't know, why am I here and what am I doing? Have you ever thought like that? Or is it just me? So, unless I change my consciousness, unless I invite Krishna into my life, and I don't make Krishna something in the background, like a child's talking or a translator or somebody coming through the door, but unless I make Krishna the main thing, I will not really get a change of my quality of life, a change of consciousness, a change of heart. Because if you want Krishna to just be there somewhere, on your altar, along with Grandma and, Sai Baba and Ali Baba and whoever else is on your in your hall of fame, then he'll be happy to be there. Yetamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanuvartante manushya partha sarvashaha. Krishna says everybody's on my path. He's not an egomaniac. He's not a narcissist. Krishna is God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's all-loving and all-powerful and all-patient. So if you want to do the scenic route and taste and see and experience anything and everything in this world, it may take you a little while. There's a problem though, that you don't live long enough to make all the stupid mistakes that you can. So how long is it going to take you? Brahmande Brahmite. It will take you a very long time. Many Brahmandas, many lifetimes of Brahma. And it may not be a human birth. It may not be in a nice place like Finland, where, people thought and they're kind-hearted and socialistic and they take care of people's problems. You may be born somewhere else. So there is no guarantee. We should not waste any time. Don't procrastinate. Sometimes people have this idea that, why are you going to temple? You're a young person, right? Don't they say that? Why are you going to temple? Don't be too spiritual. Have you heard that mantra? Don't be too spiritual, right? You're a young man. You have to enjoy it. You have to have economic development, then you can become a success in life. But what does it mean to be old? About to die. Now, who can say that they're not old? Who's not about to die? Everyone's about to die. And it's funny, in the East, it's don't be too spiritual. Being pious is okay. Being religious is good, dharma. But don't get too excited with, all that vairagya and all that, stuff. And in the West, it's the exact opposite. Being spiritual is great, but don't get too religious, because religion is the opium of the people and has caused so much trouble in the world. So the black people want to be white, the white people want to be black. Everybody kind of a little confused. Have you noticed? And those in between, nobody's really happy. And nobody's really that distressed. There's more space here. Please come in. Please come in. Everybody move up, especially those who are in front of the door. Please move out of the door so people can move in. Thank you for joining us. This is the bonus track. We got, how much time do we have? What is the normal?
Prabhu, we are around 50 minutes past already.
We're 15 minutes past. Okay, the good news is it's 15 minutes overtime. Now, as you've noticed, people are so nice here in Finland, nobody will tell you.
Now I was translating. So
Yeah. If you're in China or in India or in Russia, you will have people who will tell you what to do all the time. But here, the good news and the bad news is nobody will tell you what to do. So you're going to have to figure it out for yourself. But that's why they pay you the millions. That's why you had to get your degrees at IIT, MIT, ETH, whatever acronym, whatever abbreviation you like. You fill in the blank. You made it. You made it to the Holy Land of Finland. But what is your motivation? And is Krishna your main thing, or is it just another thing? That is the question. And we have to answer that ourselves by action. It's not a t-shirt, it's not a tattoo, it's not a little wristband or a little symbol. I meet people every day and they say, I'm a Christian, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Jew, I'm a Hare Krishna, I'm a this, I'm a Buddhist, I'm an atheist. And I say, what's your practice? And they say, practice, there's a practice. You mean like you want me to do something? You don't get it, look, and then they go there and they get out some cross or they get out something and I say, this is 20 cents, this is 2 paisa. It was 2 paisa, now it's like 2 rupees, So this is a symbol. What is your consciousness and what is your practice? So ask yourself that, what is my consciousness? What is my practice? There's a lot of service to be done here. There's a lot of work. There's trouble in paradise. Welcome to paradise, but there's trouble in paradise. There's people fighting with addiction, with confusion. The enemy is ignorance. So please help in whichever way you can. And we're going to be around if you have questions. We're not going to take questions now, but we're going to be around. It's great to see you all. And happy Janmashtami. Krishna is appearing in a few days. I have a few days to clean my head and my heart to make sure that Krishna actually will sit there and take his prominent place, not just a backseat driver amongst all the other usual and unusual suspects in my life. Thank you for your kind attention. This place has a lot of potential. It's already come a long way, but it's got a long way more to go. And that's where all of you come in. Because without community, can't pull this off. So tell all your friends, get down here and do some seva. Do some seva. Because seva will save you. It will save you. What gets you a higher security clearance in your company if you do seva? If you have a service attitude, everybody wants you on the team. If you don't have a service attitude, you can be a triple PhD and whatnot. Nobody wants you in the room. Because your attitude is not appreciated. So develop service attitude by practice, and this is the place where to practice. And then you will learn the art, how to have sadhana, how to have sangha, how to do seva, wherever you might be in the world. And it won't be just a job. It won't just be a project. It won't just be, I'm surviving. But it will be Krishna consciousness. And Krishna will be present. So Krishna will empower you to become an instrument of his compassion. And that is a very wonderful experience. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Sri Krishna Janmashtami ki
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare
His Grace Navina Nirada Prabhu ki
Jai.